Welcome again to another exciting episode of To the Edge, and back with us, because we shot these back-to-back, is Chris Esper.
I'm back.
Hey Chris, I'm Mike Messier, good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you again.
Roland.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Again, buddy.
I have no idea who you are. Oh, wait, weren't you on last time?
Yes.
Yeah.
You look familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to think so.
Yes.
So Roland, what are we talking about today, buddy?
We were talking about film in general, and we're going to have a third perspective this week.
Great.
Yeah.
So, what are your favorite types of films?
My gosh. Honestly, I like old genres, really.
Old genres?
No, all.
Oh, all. I thought you said old.
No, because I find something surprising in each genre. I mean, granted that I don't really have a favorite, but I do. I like films that challenge me. I like films that make me think about something. I like films that have a new perspective on a certain subject matter, particularly a subject matter of life.
There you go.
I like movies that talk about life, whether they be dramatic, or artsy, or comedic, romantic. I just like films that do a different spin on deeper subjects.
Nice.
Of course, I do love to be entertained as well. I mean that always helps too. I mean, if a film just goes for just being artistic and dramatic and it's not entertaining, then I'm turned off because I got nothing to, have my mind kind of relax and say, I'm enjoying this, and then it just becomes more of a thinking session than anything else, which is fine, but you have to be in the right mood for those kinds, I think. But
yeah, go ahead.
But I love to laugh, so I love comedy, I love drama, I like being scared by horror, like Hitchcock.
Right.
One of my favorite directors to this day. Martin Scorsese is my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
So. Nice. What are some of your favorite Hitchcock and then Scorsese films?
I would say my favorite Hitchcock movie is Psycho.
Okay.
I love the cinematography.
Great film.
I love the cinematography in that film. I love the editing. I love the fact that, I'm sure many people have seen it, but I love the fact that it does something totally different.
Right.
Within the first third of that movie, the person who we think that this movie is about is killed off.
Right.
Yeah.
Janet Leigh's character?
Yeah, Janet Leigh's character. And when I first saw that, I was like, well, wait a minute. I mean, I heard about the infamous shower scene. I heard
Everyone's heard of that.
Yeah, I heard of it before, but I wasn't quite sure who it was that was killed.
Sure.
So when I finally saw the movie, I was thinking, wow, this is risky on Hitchcock's part because your main character is gone.
Right.
Like, who's this movie about now? Like, the whole time I was thinking, okay, she must be the psycho that the title is referring to.
Right.
But then, as the film unfolds, of course, we discover something totally different, and it's a brilliant movie. Brilliant movie. I also really love North by Northwest, another great movie.
Another Hitchcock?
Another Hitchcock.
Yep.
The Birds,
Oh yeah.
of course.
Definitely Hitchcock.
Yeah, Birds, of course, is great. One of his more underrated ones, The Wrong Man.
Okay.
With Henry Fonda, 1956, I believe. It's a beautiful movie. It's a film noir,
Yep.
black and white, beautifully shot, and it's the classic Hitchcock tale of the innocent man wrongly accused, which he was known for.
Right.
He was known for those types of stories. Even The Lodger, his first, what he calls the first true Hitchcock picture, that was from 1927, silent film, and that was his first true one. If you go back and see it, it has that same theme of the innocent man wrongly accused.
Right.
In this case, the innocent man is wrongly accused of being Jack the Ripper.
Wait, what was the name of this film again?
The Lodger, 1927.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it's available on DVD in a box set. It's also available on an Internet Archive website where they have archival public domain movies aren't copywritten by any production company or studio.
So it wouldn't be available on Netflix, would it?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, I'll look
think
at
so.
the website then.
We'll check Netflix, but I'm not entirely sure.
Probably not. I
But-
looked up old silent films before, and they're very rare on Netflix.
Boo, Netflix. Boo.
Hey,
Give me
Netflix
my
is
$8
good.
back.
Yeah,
Give me
no,
my
yeah.
$8 back. I don't have Netflix.
Oh,
But yeah,
you should get Netflix.
I've heard that.
It's like substitute cable.
Oh,
Between
really?
that and Amazon, I don't have to pay for cable anymore.
Nice. There you go.
But yes, The Lodger, The Birds, Psycho, North by Northwest, Rear Window is great. Vertigo is awesome. I like all those movies, but my favorites are Psycho, The Birds, Vertigo, and the Wrong Man and The Lodger. Both.
You mentioned 7 or 8 or 6
Yeah.
or 7, but you didn't mention Strangers on a Train. That's
Yes.
still Hitchcock.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Oh,
Yes,
so
I forgot about that.
Strangers on a Train.
Another great one.
With the carousel scene. It's about a guy, a tennis pro who's approached by this rich daddy's boy, and the rich daddy's boy wants to kill his father, and he assumes that the tennis pro wants to kill his wife, so the tennis pro can marry a young starlet or whatever, and so on and so forth. And so the rich guy, the rich daddy's boy, makes an offer to the tennis pro on a train, hence Strangers on a Train. You kill mine, I kill yours.
Exactly. Crisscross.
Right,
as it says.
right. And the
Yes.
tennis pro is just kind of amusing him, kind of placating to him. And then the daddy's boy goes ahead and kills the tennis pro's wife and says, now you owe me.
Yeah, exactly. So now he has to kill the daddy's boy's father.
Right.
Pretty much. And it's really, really good. Again, great cinematography. The man was a master, you know.
Right.
But it's interesting how. Oh, got a piece of hair here.
Sure.
But it's interesting how in 2012, Hitchcock has been kind of, the legend of him has kind of been revived for all these movies that are being shown both in television and the theaters now, because HBO had a film called The Girl.
Yep.
Did you see it?
No.
Either of
No,
you?
I don't have HBO.
Okay. Well, the film is essentially about Hitchcock's relationship with Tippi Hedren
Okay.
during the making of The Birds and Marnie. Another great one I forgot to mention. But
One of his
Oh, so it's a
muses?
nonfiction piece.
no. Yeah, it's not fiction. Excuse me.
One of his muse actresses?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Every time that'll kill you. Yep.
Yep. Well, this one is, this one is essentially about the relationship and about how he tried to seduce her,
Right.
and tried to really go after her, even though the fact was that he was a married man,
Right.
and he did that to a lot of his lead actresses, particularly ones who were blonde.
Sure.
So it's an interesting movie, very shocking to watch, but you don't think of Hitchcock the same way after seeing that
Right.
movie.
He's a little morally bankrupt, according to this film.
Yeah.
Kind of from the Bill Clinton School of Ethics.
Well, a lot of famous people are like that.
Sure.
It's a matter of, it's not the people, it's the work that they put out. What do you think of that? Because the people, they
Exactly.
could be anything.
Yeah, and when I saw the movie, it's one of those things where I feel that you must separate the artist from the person, because you may not respect the person, but you can still respect the work. Now you could say the same for Walt Disney, let's say. As a man, I probably wouldn't have liked him because he was someone that was a chauvinist and a racist.
Oh.
But
Well, you're
he's-
talking about someone in like the mid 20th century that was more common. Or was he chauvinistic and racist even for that time?
Well, even for that time, I'm
Oh,
saying.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But because I don't know all the stories, but I may not respect him as a person, but I still love his movies. I mean,
Sure.
I grew up with his movies. I mean, Pinocchio is one of my all-time favorite Disney movies.
But on the other hand, with that same conversation, guys, do you think that digesting some art from someone of questionable character can somehow get into your system? Let's take the most extreme case, just for fun, or not so much fun. But you have Hitler with his book Mein
Oh, God.
Kampf, and it's just I wouldn't pick it up and read it just because
Me either.
I wouldn't want that agenda.
I wouldn't read it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't read it either. No.
First, because I don't want to read his point of view. And second,
No.
if someone sees me reading that book, what are they going to think? They'll
Yeah,
have to
exactly,
be on the
yeah.
defensive immediately.
Well, you
Right.
take somebody, like Mike Tyson. Well, okay, he's a convicted rapist, and now he's in a movie, The Hangover, and a lot of people go see it and pay $10 to see, a comedy with a convicted rapist in the movie. So,
Yeah.
or our buddy Michael Jackson, not my buddy, but
Yeah.
people love him, but when he was alive, not so much.
Right.
For several years, Michael Jackson was the laughing stock of the country, and
Wacko Jacko.
right.
Jacko,
But
they
suddenly
call him,
he's
yeah.
dead, and everybody loves him again. So
I hate that.
it's kind of an incrimination of our own society. So you're incriminated, society. Boo you!
You're great, and I mean you're horrible until you're dead. Then suddenly you're great. Everything's
Suddenly you're a
swept under
saint.
the rug.
Sinner alive, saint dead. Boo America, or the whole world. Boo world. So there you
Maybe
have
it's
it. I like
because-
America. Don't get me wrong.
Maybe it's because they're dead and they can't do anything more.
right.
Or they're trying to be respectful, but then it's just a lie because we're not really looking at how they lived.
Yeah.
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 The one exception to this obviously would be Adolf Hitler.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just thinking about this stuff, and trust me, I'm a true patriot, but this stuff just gets your blood boiling because you think about these celebrities and their discrepancies, and I mentioned a few, but Bill Clinton, Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, but there's so many up and down. We talked about Lindsay Lohan
Yeah.
off screen, and her stuff
Yeah.
is a bit frivolous. It's a bit of a joke, but still, I mean, she is at some point a role model for her people, you know,
Yeah.
for her followers.
I would like to think that they know better.
Well, but maybe they don't. You know, they see Herbie the Love Bug and they say, "Oh, Lindsay Lohan, she's my
Yeah.
hero. She's my." But then,
Transformers.
No,
that was Meg.
that was
what's her name?
Oh, sorry.
That's the
I'm getting
brunette.
the actresses
Yeah,
mixed
yeah.
up.
Yeah, or the lack of actresses. They're not very good.
But the point I think is that you know, sometimes you can respect the work, but you don't have to respect the person.
Right.
But that's just one subject. Anyway, though, we're talking about film.
Well, we're kind of sort of talking about film.
Yeah.
But
But
so
anywho.
what did you think of Sin City?
I did not see Sin City.
Really?
Actually, nope, I haven't seen it.
Because it's got the noir mid-century feel to
Yeah,
it, and
Yeah,
it's also frankly
surprisingly,
hyper-violent.
yeah, surprisingly, I haven't seen it. But I like the way it looks from watching the trailers and clips. You know, I like that whole the effect that they created, where you see one object in color, everything else is in black and white. It's very interesting effect.
Yeah, you did something similar in Still Life.
Yeah, I did at one point. Yes.
Psycho, getting back to that, I noticed that that's a film where you can try to recreate it frame for frame, but that's not something that can be duplicated, which to me drives some of the fact that there's a time and a place for a film, and there's a magic that's there, and once you change something, it's gone.
It's funny you mention that because Gus Van Sant did a remake in 1998
Yeah,
with Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates.
exactly.
Right.
And Julianne Moore was in the movie, and Anne H., probably her only famous role, she played Janet Leigh's character
Right.
in that movie.
A mild success artistically.
I didn't like it.
Well, I
Or a
well-
mild failure. What do you think, Chris?
oh gosh, I saw the movie, and to me, the whole thing was scene for scene, shot
Right.
for shot, word for word, etc. Like nothing was changed. It was basically Psycho if they colorized it.
Right.
I don't think so. With the actors, I just couldn't buy it.
Well, yeah, no, I felt that Vince Vaughn was not creepy as Norman Bates. He was
Right.
He was just more. He was more funny.
See, that's what killed
Than
it for
anything
me. I
else.
couldn't take him seriously as Norman Bates.
Well, what's
Yeah,
funny is
well,
like
you look money, baby, and then
Yeah.
he hits you with the.
well, you know what? But you know what's funny about the two movies? The first Psycho, where you got Anthony Perkins,
Right.
and he's got this boyish baby face, innocent face, and you would think,
yeah, that fits.
yeah, and you would think, and the first thing you think is like, oh, this guy can't be the killer.
Right.
But then when you look at the 1998 Psycho, but getting back to 1961s, I mean, on top of that, Anthony Perkins, he played a creepy role, but looked like an innocent guy.
Right.
Then you got the 1998 Psycho with Vince Vaughn. That movie, the man's got a creepy face, but he comes off as funny. It doesn't make sense. you
Right. Right. Well, sometimes you can't beat the original, you know.
know? No, not at all.
So why even try? And unfortunately, the answer is probably money. You know, they figured, well, if we greenlight this Psycho movie, we'll make a few bucks, or a lot of few bucks.
And
You know, they should have done a reboot instead of a remake. Try to make the film their own so you see it in a different sense
Well,
so that
they
you're not
kinda-
always comparing.
They kind of did because there was 3 Psycho sequels after.
Well,
the
those
first one.
are sequels, not a reboot.
No, but they came 22 years after the original movie. Like Psycho 2 came out in '82.
Yeah.
22 years after.
Well,
the
I call
original.
that a long-delayed sequel, kind of like the 4th Indiana Jones film.
Well, have
Oh,
you,
right.
well, have you seen Psycho 2?
I have actually. I mean, it definitely doesn't feel like it's in the same vein as the first film, but I mean, 1960 and 1982 film changed so much in between.
It
them.
did, but I kind of disagree because I think it did have that same feel, and because here we're dealing with Anthony Perkins is in it,
Yeah.
still,
Right.
and was directed by Richard Franklin, and he is someone who is a true Hitchcock fan. He's stated that even his previous film prior to that one, Road Games,
Right.
which I haven't seen, but Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, which is interesting because Jamie Lee Curtis is actually Janet Leigh's daughter.
Yes. Okay.
And she was supposed to be in Psycho 2, but instead the part went to Meg Tilly. But,
Oh, yeah.
But in any case, so it would have been interesting if she wasn't. It would have been a nice, it would have been appropriate,
Right.
I think.
A nice circular
But that's why I don't
thing.
call it a reboot. I call it just a sequel. Long delayed, but
well,
still.
because what I found interesting about that film was the fact that you got Norman Bates now free in society,
Right.
and he's trying to fit back into
Oh,
society.
yeah.
So it's like you feel sorry for this guy because even though what he did was wrong, he's trying to fit back into society again and be a normal person and try to get away from those urges and those mental states he was going through in the original movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But all that is stopping him because Jana-Lee's character from the Jana-Lee's sister, Vera, she was played by Vera Miles. She reprises her role in this movie as well. She comes back. She's a sister of the woman that was killed in the original movie.
Right.
She comes back to try to get him back into that mental state so that she can get him arrested and convicted once again because she wants revenge for what he did.
Right.
So he's trying to fit back into society, but this woman's trying to stop him. Meanwhile, you got Meg Tilly in the mix as well. So I thought it was an interesting movie, personally. Psycho 3 and 4, don't even get me started. Like,
Okay.
Those were terrible. I mean, Anthony Perkins tried to direct the third one. When you got your lead actor trying to direct themselves in their own movie after a huge success with the first one and a mild success with the second one, that's when the ego kind of goes up.
Right.
Recipe for
right.
disaster, right
Sure.
there.
Exactly. And so Psycho 3 was just a gore fest. It was just all blood. There was no story. The score was terrible.
I bet they just wanted to keep up with Freddy and Jason and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. That Norman Bates basically became Freddy and Jason by
Right.
that point, and it didn't work. And that's why the fourth one became a TV film,
Yeah.
and it was more of a prequel than anything else.
remember
But there was some interesting parts, but overall, I thought it was kind of bland.
Kind of vanilla pudding.
Yeah.
You mentioned the whole actor-director thing, so that's a good question that we've discussed a little bit is, can an actor direct himself? Can a director act himself in the same movie?
It's very tough.
It's very, very tough.
very fine line.
You know?
You have to really divorce yourself from the picture.
Right.
I think that the best directors who are actors aren't really the stars in the film. They're not the main character.
There is one notable exception,
Who?
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I agree,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, at least one. I don't know if I can.
Well, a couple of times Dan DeVito has done it well. Throw him off on the train.
Oh, okay. He directed and starred.
Yeah, which
Okay.
is funny because Throw 'Em Off on the Train is kind of a quasi homage remake to Strangers on a Train
That's right.
because it's kind of about the same thing except Billy Crystal has to kill his mother instead of killing a father.
Right.
Which I thought was a very funny movie, and
Yes.
and you see a scene from Strangers on a Train in the movie as well.
Right.
Dan DeVito goes to the movies and he sees it, and that's what inspires him to come up with that idea. But that film in particular, I'm just saying, Dan DeVito did a good job with that. Same with another childhood favorite of mine, Matilda. You know,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that one was a childhood favorite of mine. But
With the Clint Eastwood films, I know that he directed Iwo Jima, but what has he starred in that he actually directed?
Gran Torino,
Gran Torino?
$1 Million Baby, right?
$1 Million Baby. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't kept up with his later films.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
his
good.
last films.
And I would say Unforgiven, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Or am I mistaken? Oh,
Oh,
so
he
3.
directed Unforgiven?
Looks like it.
He did direct Unforgiven. Yeah.
Well, that was very effective.
Yeah. So Unforgiven, $1 Million Baby, and Gran Torino. That's 3 at least.
I know there's more. I don't remember his whole filmography, but he's done quite a bit. And he's still going on strong. He's got more coming out, I believe.
Yeah, I know he's doing films behind the camera, but in front of the camera, I think he's stopped acting.
Was
I
there?
think Gran Torino was his last film, and it was symbolized by the fact that his character actually dies.
Well, no, he just did one recently.
Really?
A baseball movie,
That's
the
right.
Curve or something.
That's right.
Keeping
Yeah.
Up with the Curve or something with the beautiful Amy Adams. And I would try to go to see the movie, but I had missed it by the time it came to my local theater. I missed it, unfortunately. But it was Trouble with the Curve, I
Oh.
think, with Eastwood, Amy Adams, and the guy, the pop singer guy, Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake, yeah.
Yeah. So I missed it, but I know what it's all about.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I stand corrected then.
Oh, no
I
problem.
thought Gran Torino was his last film he'd star in. Or maybe he intended that at the time and then changed his mind.
Probably. I mean, a bunch of actors. Stallone has done that too, where he said he's not gonna, he's directed a lot of the Rocky movies. Let's say
Right.
Rockies 2, 3, 4, and 6.
this is the last one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like Rocky. I
yeah,
like Stallone.
yeah. He didn't direct 1 and 5. That was John Avildsen. But even with those movies, like he would constantly say that that's the last one. Character's gonna die off.
Right.
Of course, it never happened. Rocky 5 was supposed to happen, but
Right. Well,
it
Rocky
didn't.
V was probably the weakest of the
I agree.
series. Although
I agree.
the fight scene at the end with Tommy Gunn, who was a real boxer, and Stallone fighting in the parking lot was kind of cool because
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
yeah, because you weren't in a ring.
I thought the build up to that was fine, but the ending just kind of tanked because nothing really happened.
right.
How can it when it's out on the street like that? You don't have
Yeah.
any of the glamour or any of
Yeah.
that.
And
But
then-
go ahead.
And then Rocky 4 was just a comic book.
Well, you know, at the time,
was
the
fun, but-
1980s were a comic book, you know,
Yeah.
for those of us.
It was
that-
fun, but you
Oh yeah,
know.
the
born in that day.
montages,
Yeah, right.
the evil Russian.
yeah,
no.
yeah.
I remember seeing Rocky IV in utero and thinking this is a fun movie because at the time it was glamour, it was glitz,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
flash.
Riding on nothing but emotion.
That's right.
Yeah.
And throw in the towel. Take my glasses off when I do impersonations, right? So this is Rocky when Carl Weathers is Apollo Creed, and somebody's going, throw in the damn towel, and then Rocky's kind of holding the towel and he's looking, you know, he doesn't throw in the towel, hence his buddy dies, hence he's got to fight the Russian.
Yeah.
I will break you.
Go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw on YouTube a little outtake from Rocky IV, which was after the fight, Dolph Lundgren, in a state of despair, Dolph Lundgren's character of the Russian Drago goes into a bar in Russia, and they're kind of, you know, looking at him like, oh, here's the guy that lost.
Yeah.
He pulls out a gun and he starts shooting everybody.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding. It's on YouTube. You look for Drago exited scene or whatever
Wow.
from Rocky IV, and it's right there. It was nuts.
Oh, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
Rocky 1 is my all-time favorite movie, I would say.
Yeah.
Because I love the way it's written, I love the way it's shot, I love the acting, and it was a typical kind of, you know, go for your dreams tale, but there was something about it. I mean, it was essentially like a Frank Capra movie, if you know who Frank Capra is.
Oh yeah, Frank Capra, sure.
You know, he's done a lot of those classic Hollywood movies.
Yep.
Kind of like the staple of what's become a Hollywood ending sort of happy movie to this day.
Was that It's a Wonderful Life? Or am I
Yes.
off? Okay.
Yes.
Oh wow.
It's
Trying
a
to keep up with this guy. He's a film historian over
Yeah,
here.
I know.
It's a wonderful. It's a Wonderful Life. Arsenic and Old Lace.
Yeah.
With I want to say Gary Cooper. No.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Whatever you say, we'll go along with.
I know who to
'cause-
call if I ever have any questions about films.
Who was in
Oh.
Highlander 2 Renegade version, Chris? You know. Who was?
I don't know. I never seen it.
Oh, all right. Well, we got you stumped.
Number one film, 1979.
Yeah. Number one film, 1979. That is a good question. I'm not.
Was it
Kramer
God?
versus Kramer.
That was
That's
80.
right. That's right. That's right.
That
Kramer
won the
versus
award
Kramer.
in 80. But it depends on how you look
It
at
was
it.
released
Yeah.
in 79.
There you
It
go.
was, yeah.
And
It
they always
was.
go with the previous year in those anyway.
Yeah, I actually met one of the producers, a guy named Tom Kane, who's now a buddy of mine. He told me some good stories from the set of Kramer versus Kramer. Dustin Hoffman, Meryl Streep, great, fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen Argo?
I haven't seen
Yes.
Argo yet.
Yes, I
That
did.
is a great film.
Is it?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
gotta check it out.
They have a scheme, and it's crazy enough just to work, and that's all I'll say. It's
Okay.
really fun.
Oh, okay.
Ben Affleck kind of coming into his own. And once again, I mean, he's always been great as an actor and a J-Lo boyfriend, but now he's a producer, I guess, of
Yeah.
Argo.
Producer, director. Yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive. And I just saw Lincoln myself recently, as in yesterday, and it's very deep. You know, I might go see it again because the dialogue was just way up there. Historical epic, and it's not necessarily a feel-good movie, but it's a
Well,
ma-
yeah.
it makes you feel good that it was made because it was so deep.
Yeah.
I won't give away the ending.
Does Lincoln get shot in the theater?
You gave it away.
Oh. That's
it's-
like Revenge of the Sith. Does Anakin become Darth Vader?
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
He does. No, so
So the dialogue, you said it was really great. Is
Yeah.
it period accurate?
I would say so. Yes. There's no slang. There's no colloquialisms. These people in the movie speak very regimented.
accurate, yeah.
Very. I mean, I wasn't alive back then, so
Right.
No one was.
right. But they don't have that. They don't have our slang or our looseness of language.
Right.
You know, these people speak
Yeah,
very
no
formal.
one says okay or cool or
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Right on, man.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Wait, in my Lincoln voice. Right on, man.
Yeah.
Remember Bill and Ted? Party on, dudes.
Right.
Oh, Bill and Ted.
They do a great job of showing Lincoln's height, which apparently at 6'4", 6'6", maybe, Lincoln just towered over everybody else, you know, in his time and in the
Yeah.
movie, because people were shorter back then.
Right.
Yeah.
So they make a really good case of Lincoln just being almost this monster of a man
Towering
in presence,
figure.
but such a gentle guy at the same time, even though he unleashed his fury later in the film and in history. But what a complicated situation, the Civil War, North versus South, brother versus brother, family versus family,
Yeah.
people losing relatives and then having to wake up the next day and fight again or feed
Yeah.
them, you know.
Bloodiest war in American history.
That's right.
More than World War II.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because the
and-
fighting was away from the United States during World War II, but here was no getting away from it.
Yeah, and if you fight yourself, you're bound to lose, you know, because... Now, here's a question for you guys. Do you think that the Civil War would have, say Lincoln allowed the South, in his mind, to secede from the Union, and just to see if they would secede, if they would fail on their own, and then come back, you know, with their tail between their legs, do you think that would have happened, or do you
I
think so?
don't think so because of Southern pride. Even today, they call the Civil War the War of Northern Aggression. I don't think I think they would have been too proud to rejoin the Union, and militarily, I think that would have crippled us because the South is more gung-ho, no offense to Southerners.
Sure.
So I don't think that we'd have the same military might, and that wouldn't have allowed us to become a major power in the 20th century if they left.
Well, I'm from Virginia, but Northern Virginia, so I'm not offended.
But they are more gung-ho down there.
Well,
Yeah.
but where I lived in Northern Virginia, it's like you go from where I grew up in Burke, you know, it sounds kind of ho-hick, but we go from Burke to Manassas. We would make fun of the people from Manassas, which are 25 minutes away from us, even though we were in Burke. So imagine that. You know, Virginia, Northern Virginia is a very interesting, at the same time, very boring place to grow up. So in case you guys are looking for a place to visit, don't go there.
But I don't want to leave that on a note of, you know, dissing Southerners, because I actually find them to be very nice people, and I've worked in call centers, and I generally prefer to talk to Southerners because they're nicer.
Yeah, that's good.
Massachusetts people can be real jerks,
Yeah.
and I live in Massachusetts, so I have the right to say that.
It's a very controversial episode, Chris. It must be you. You know, and when we have Katie Solowski here, it's very genteel and nice and soft, and she's, you know. But anyway, so here you are, and then all the controversy comes out.
Yeah, I know.
How do you like that?
It's your fault.
But yeah, I still have to see Lincoln because I do. Spielberg is another one I enjoy. I intend to enjoy watching. But it's funny how much his films have changed through the course of 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Very science fiction, action-based, family-friendly. All of a sudden, by 1993, when he comes out with Schindler's List, after that, he's doing more historical dramas, which
Right.
nothing wrong with that. But those people who grew up with Spielberg's movies like E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know, they feel as though he's lost his touch. But
Well, there's a story behind that. He hasn't lost his touch
I
so
don't
much
think
as
so
he
either.
changed his touch. Before
Yeah.
he was trying to make fun movies to entertain,
Right.
but he wasn't getting
But the way
positive reviews from critics.
Yeah, but the way I defend that is that Spielberg, like all directors, is an artist, and he should have every right to express his artistic voice through any genre
Yeah.
possible. I mean, I think Schindler's List is his masterpiece, truly.
Right.
I mean, the way that movie is shot and the way you feel sorry for these folks,
Right.
and the fact that Spielberg, he himself is also a Jewish man, and he's gone through that. You know, I'm sure his family in the past, his ancestors have gone through that history and
Right.
that violence. So it's so you can definitely see that personal touch from him rather, and I enjoy it. Saving Private Ryan, another good one.
Oh, that was a great film.
Oh yeah, the first half hour of that movie is just incredible.
And I normally can't stand Tom Hanks, but I like that film.
You don't like Tom Hanks?
I just don't like him.
Really?
Really?
Don't tell me you're another one. Are you another one that doesn't like Big?
I've never actually seen Big.
Oh.
I've seen Vice Versa, but I haven't seen Big.
Oh. What
Great,
about
now I'm going to get a lashing now.
Castaway or Apollo 13 or
I've
Forrest
seen
Gump?
Apollo 13.
What did you think of that one?
It was good, but I'm drawn to things that take place in space. I'm a science fiction fan, so there's no way I wouldn't have seen that one, even though it's based on a true story. And I think that we should get going with the space program again. We
Okay.
could have been on Mars by now.
What good would that
That's
do
my
us?
soapbox.
Roland.
The human population is expanding. We could expand to another planet. That planet is livable, and we can terraform it. And it's another world for humans to start over from scratch instead of dealing with the baggage of this world.
Interesting. Interesting.
I mean, why settle North America or any of the Americas? That would have been the question 500 years ago.
Here's a question: would going to Mars? I really don't even know the answer, but gravity or anything, or
Well, it's a 38% gravity of here, so it would be an adjustment, but you might get taller humans.
interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
Would you volunteer to relocate to Mars?
I would.
All right.
I gladly would.
Nice.
Get away from this planet.
Oh boy.
Well, what about your cable TV and?
Yeah.
Cable TV on Mars.
All right. More
We'll have
channels.
To the edge, Mars, to the Martian edge.
Maybe we'll find more audience there.
That was a radical 180.
Well,
Maybe the only audience, because how many people will be producing shows there? You're not going to have, like, Red Hollywood or God of War Hollywood.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah. What about movie making? What about your movies? You gonna do that on Mars?
Yeah, I'm writing a script about Mars, so might
There
as
you
well
go.
shoot at the real
Yeah,
place.
Nice, nice, nice.
Oh man.
Wow.
Oh, God. No, I'll be dead by then, by the time they colonize that
Probably.
planet.
No, who knows? You know, I don't know. Who knows? You know,
mean,
I don't know.
I don't think that'll happen in my
Little deja
lifetime.
vu there. Oh man. So what else can we talk about? So this, that, and the other thing. What do you say, Roland?
I'm just saying that was a radical 180.
It was.
It was, yeah.
Yes.
This whole episode was.
Spontaneity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
I was gonna go somewhere.
Okay. Let's
Wow.
talk about. Go ahead.
Were you still talking about? Did you still want to talk about Spielberg or?
Yes, Spielberg.
Oh, actually, I think.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention. I think with Schindler's List, Spielberg had actually, that was the beginning of his I want to be taken seriously by critics phase because
Oh yeah.
he wanted to appease the critics
Yeah. Yeah.
and express himself instead of just pleasing the masses.
I think you're
But
right.
that's a topic for another show,
Another show.
Summer Blockbusters.
That's right.
So thank you again for watching us on To the Edge. It was great to have you on board, Chris, and I
Thank
hope
you
to
for
have you
having
on
me.
again. And
Yeah.
thanks again for our co-host, Mick Messier, as always.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, see you next week.